When Kevin Durant joined the two-time defending Western Conference champion Warriors in 2016, fresh off their historic 73-win campaign, Golden State was expected to rampage its way to a second NBA championship in a 3-year span. But there was one Western Conference team that gave the mighty Warriors fits: Kawhi Leonard's San Antonio Spurs.
3 black jerseys around him. Leonard on balance. He's got 33.
It surprised no one that the Warriors and Spurs were the last team standing in the West when the conference finals tipped off on May 14, 2017. What was surprising, however, was that the Warrior who most impacted that series opener wasn't Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, or even Draymond Green. It was Zaza Pachulia, whose actions altered the course of history for at least 3 franchises. The 2016-17 Warriors unsurprisingly coasted to 67 wins despite the fact KD missed a quarter of the season with a left knee injury. Golden State finished 6 games ahead of the second-place Spurs atop the overall standings, boasted the league's #1 offense, #2 defense, and an average margin of victory nearly 4.5 points clear of second-ranked San Antonio. Those Warriors posted the 3rd highest net rating in league history, while Basketball Reference's simple rating system rates them as the 4th best team of all time, and the best the NBA has seen since Michael Jordan's 72-win Bulls. But Leonard and the Spurs had their number, so postseason success couldn't be taken for granted. San Antonio smacked Golden State by 29 in Durant's Warriors debut, took 2 of 3 from the Dubs that season, though a number of stars on both teams sat out a couple of those games, and entered the West Finals looking every bit the contender Golden State was. Mainly because the Spurs had Leonard, a former Finals MVP who was one of the rare defensive talents with the physical goods to at least trouble Durant. Plus, Kawhi was playing out of his mind during that 2017 postseason run, averaging roughly 28 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals on 52, 47, 92 shooting through 11 games against Memphis and Houston. This was the playoff run that had former Grizzlies coach David Fizdale dropping this unforgettable line about the Claw.
I think he bleeds like antifreeze or something. This guy is special, man.
The only possible concern was Leonard's left ankle, as the star forward was forced to sit out San Antonio's series-clinching 39-point Game 6 victory over Houston 3 days earlier. Given the way Leonard dominated early on in Game 1 against the Warriors, though, his ankle seemed to be just fine. And nothing about the Spurs' 21-point lead through nearly 2.5 quarters seemed like a fluke. The Spurs simply looked like a legitimate championship contender with just the right team and superstar capable of slaying the Warriors. Then Pachulia left his size 17 shoe under Leonard's left foot on a 3rd quarter jumper.
Leonard fires from the corner. And Leonard goes down again. And he's in pain again in front of the Spurs bench.
As quickly as Leonard crumpled to the court writhing in pain, the Spurs' hopes were expeditiously dashed. Sure, Kawhi made 2 free throws to put the Spurs up 23 with 7:55 remaining in the 3rd quarter, but he checked out of the game immediately afterward and wouldn't play another minute that spring. Ironically enough, it was Pachulia who would score the game's next basket 9 seconds later, kickstarting an 18-0 Warriors run that shook the wounded Spurs and sent Oracle Arena into a frenzy. Though they still trailed by 5 at that point, anyone who had watched the Warriors in recent years understood how inevitable the result would be on that Sunday afternoon in May.
Ball tipped again, picked up by Curry. Curry for 3. It's good. Tie game.
Over the final 19 minutes and 44 seconds, the Warriors outscored the Spurs 58-33 to eke out a 113-111 victory. Durant and Curry combined for 74 points, but Leonard's performance and injury at the hands or feet of Pachulia were all anyone wanted to talk about. Kawhi finished with 26 points on 7 of 13 shooting to go with 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal in less than 24 minutes of action. In 23-54 with Leonard on the court, the Spurs outscored the Warriors by 21 points. In 24-06 without him, San Antonio lost by 23. To no one's surprise then, the Warriors throttled the Leonardless Spurs by 36 in Game 2 and won the final 3 games of the series by an average of nearly 21 points, sweeping their way into the NBA Finals. The immediate impact of Pachulia's foul on the Warriors is obvious. Golden State romped to the finals and promptly dispatched of an awesome yet overmatched Cavs squad in 5 games to win its second championship in 3 years, capping a 16-1 playoff run. Durant earned his first of 2 titles and first of 2 Finals MVP awards to date. Where that fateful moment in time gets truly fascinating, though, is when we consider how the Spurs, other franchises, and the future of the NBA as a whole was shaped by it. For one, the end of San Antonio's 2-decade-long dynasty can directly be tied to Game 1 of the 2017 West Finals, as 4 months after his season-ending ankle injury, Leonard's bout with a mysterious left quad issue became public knowledge. That quad injury kept Kawhi out to start the 2017-18 season and limited the Spurs superstar to just 9 games that year, with confusion over Leonard's status and ability to return awkwardly hanging over the team all season. There were passive-aggressive comments between Leonard and his teammates throughout the year, a reported locker room confrontation, and even reports that Kawhi hid from the Spurs when the organization tried to reach him while he rehabbed in New York. The dramatic saga resolved itself when the Spurs traded Leonard to Toronto in the summer of 2018. We know what that meant for the Raptors.
It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
In his lone season north of the border, Kawhi helped deliver Toronto its first NBA championship, the only title won by a non-US based team. The Spurs, meanwhile, missed the playoffs in 3 of the first 4 seasons after Leonard's departure. As without at least one transcendent superstar for the first time in decades, the franchise's 22-year postseason streak ended within a couple years of his exit. In addition to the Spurs, Warriors, and Raptors, you can also make the argument that Cavaliers' history and potential glory was derailed by Pachulia's Game 1 foul on Kawhi. The 2017 Cavs were even better than the 2016 version that rallied back from 3-1 down in the finals against the 73-win Warriors. Though Cleveland lost both matchups against San Antonio during the 2016-17 regular season, they surely would have liked their chances against anybody but the Warriors in a best-of-7 postseason setting with King James still at the top of his game. That season's Spurs might have been uniquely equipped to beat a once-in-a-generation Warriors team, but that year's Cavs team might have been good enough to go toe-to-toe with any team in history besides that Warriors squad. How different might James's time in Cleveland be viewed if the Cavs had managed to claim 2 Larry O'Brien trophies? How bulletproof might LeBron's already sparkling legacy be if he had 5 championships right now? If he had a 5-5 finals record instead of a 4-6 mark? And if he beat Pop Spurs for 2 of those titles? Of course, we can't discuss the lasting legacy of Zaza on Kawhi, or rather Zaza under Kawhi, without discussing the NBA rulebook. Pachulia earned nothing more than a personal foul on the play. But by the time the next season tipped off, the league had instituted a rule by which officials could assess technical and/or flagrant fouls on a defender who doesn't allow a jump shooter enough space to land. That new rule immediately earned a fitting nickname. Rarely in sports history has an unfortunately misplaced foot carried so much weight. It might have been one small step for Zaza Pachulia, but it was one giant step in the annals of NBA history.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.